Hello, everybody. We'll take a minute or two as people trickle on in. Welcome. It is, let's see, June 12th. It is noon here in Southwest Missouri. So, again, we'll take a minute as people trickle on in. We got Christopher, of course, we do. Christopher, nice to see you. Daniel, here you are, the viewer who suggested the topic for today. Yeah, Christopher, I changed it. I don't know if I like this one because there's no sound to it. And it's kind of pixelated, like it doesn't look good. So I'm gonna definitely have a different one next week for sure. So just downloaded it quick right before the show. Actually, I was like, oh man, I wanted to change the countdown video to start the stream, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I have 5 minutes to do it. So all right, again, welcome everyone. Trickle on in. Say hi, introductions, all that good stuff. All right. So we are, let's see, what do we got here? So Christopher says it is cool and rainy in Ottawa today. Perfect for gaming and gaming live streams. Absolutely. Greetings. Stephen, welcome. Also, howdy. Daniel, 29 degrees Celsius in Spain. Ideal for playing games with a cold drink. Looking forward to today's topic in chat. Absolutely. Nice, easy chat. Have a little fun. Chat with each other. I'll chat with you guys. I'll talk. You guys chat amongst yourselves. The usual. So it is Southwest Missouri right now. We have a heat wave going on. It is, let's see, as of, let me update this. Right now, just after noon, it says it's 91 degrees and it feels like 102 degrees. We're under heat advisory. It's supposed to be a high of 95. So get a couple hours since it's still noon. So it's still warming up. Still has more to go. Looks like by this afternoon, it'll be the heat index will reach 103 to 109. So it is dangerous weather in the sense of you do not want to be out there mowing. So Robert Kilroy was here. Don't be out there mowing this afternoon. I don't want. He lives over in Joplin, which is about an hour away from me, and is I think maybe even a little bit more south, right around the same area. Don't be out there mowing. Dangerous weather. It is hot heat wave. I worked yesterday. Got a little hot wearing all the uniform and the armor, the gear, the vest, all that stuff. It gets a little hot, but it's a penalty of living in Southwest Missouri, I guess. So no, don't do it. Do not do it. I'll check back in. Well, I know it. Hey, Kilroy was here. I guess this will be the last hurrah from Kilroy. As the humidity does not kick in, I'm happy. Yeah, we humidity. We got that now. Heat and humidity and sun. This Missouri sun down here. You talk about American Civil War battles. We talk about Battle of Wilson's Creek. August 10th. Dog days of summer style. It's literally June, middle of June. So we're 2 months away from that, and it's already just brutal. But topic sponsor. Hashtag I want topic royalties. Joking. Absolutely, Daniel. We'll see what we can come up with. So you're mentioned on here, right? You say you're designing a game. Maybe I'll mention your game. Bill, cool and rainy here in Leonardo, New Jersey. All right. Fantastic. Cool and rainy, huh? I could go for cool. I'll take rainy if it'll be cooler. This 90 plus, 100 plus heat is simply unbearable. When you're outside, it's not fun. It's not fun heat. It's not like, oh, it's nice and warm. It's too hot. B Cafe, howdy. Rainy up here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, that's what I hear. Jeez, you guys. All right. Okay. So this week, this week's topic is Wargame components So we'll talk about paper maps, mountain maps, you know, thin counters, thick counters, rule books, player aids, etc. But before we dive into that, let's chat about what's on my channel. So currently on the channel now, it's been a busy week for me, both work-wise and then with my son, whom many of you know. He's up in St. Louis at the NICU, Children's Hospital up there. So he did have his surgery on Monday, which it went really well. He's doing very good. So big thumbs up to that. Super excited about that. I obviously took up a bunch of my free time, went up there for the surgery, drove back. So it's about 3.5 hour drive each way. It's about 7 hours driving, and then I was there for a little while, not a ton of time, unfortunately, but just back and forth really takes up the one of my days off, obviously. So that means less time for war games and less time for my channel this week. So that's why it's the only video that's gone up from last Sunday was my unboxing, my recon of a Most Fearful Sacrifice. So I'm still working my way through Most Fearful Sacrifice, and you guys can see it back here. I just finished filming this morning a playthrough of Scenario 1, Slaughter Pen. So I'll have that going up. So this next week here, I should have, what I plan to do is a tutorial video. So straight tutorial, not tutorial playthrough, just like a tutorial, hopefully on the shorter side, because then I have the playthrough, which I, of course, talk during the playthrough, describe things. I don't explain everything, but I play through it and talk as I'm doing it. It'd be weird to play through a game and just not say anything. That'd be weird. So then you'll be able to learn from that as well. So anyway, I'll have those going up this week, and then obviously an overview and review eventually. That will probably be next week then, after next Sunday. So, again, like I just want to make the point is that, sometimes I've had people say that I make a lot of videos, and I've had someone say, oh, I wish you made more videos. I wish I could make more, but when I do my videos, especially when it's not just like a random playthrough, right? Like just having fun. Like when I did Invaders from Dimension X. When I do a game where I'm doing tutorial, playthrough, review, all that stuff, I need to be able to make an educated and informed video and review. Remember, unlike some other reviewers who I won't name, I actually play through my game before I review it. I play through at least once, and generally, when I say at least once, I mean never just once, right? Generally, it's going to be multiple times. Now, some of the really long ones, forget which game it was, it took me something like 8 hours to play through. I only played through 2 of that, basically, and like one of them I kind of shortchanged it a little bit, so it wasn't even a full second playthrough. But I at least got through many, like dozen plus hours of gaming on that game. And most of my games get around 8 to 12 before I do a review. Feel comfortable with that. Now, with the caveat with Most Fearful Sacrifice is the fact that it has, I don't have the table space for like the grand campaign, the grand scenario, which is, it's 2 full-size maps. And I don't mean like 22 by 34 maps. I mean like they're bigger than that. Each one is bigger than that. I simply don't have the table space for that. So I've been focusing on kind of one map and smaller scenarios, learning the game, playing the game. And obviously I'm fairly familiar with the system. It has roots with Blind Swords. And then this is, Black Swan. So anyway, upcoming games, because of being busy, I'm still waiting to get 2 games to the table that I already talked about, which is Scream Empire Pacific, the Pacific version from J. Kirkpatrick and Town of Battle Publishing. Thanks to them for sending that. And then Save South Vietnam from Bob Faniff and Fortress Games. Again, thanks to him for sending that. And I also did receive a couple issues of War Diary magazine from Roy Matheson. Thank you, Roy. I'll be doing a dedicated video on them, just kind of a first impression or an overview of the magazine, to see if you guys are interested in it, see if I'm interested in it, right? First impression of it, it looks like it's a well-crafted, professional-looking magazine, covering a variety of topics. It's wargaming and history kind of combined. Generally doesn't have a game with it, right? It's not like you're buying strategy and tactics, but also if you look at the prices, it's also significantly cheaper. So that is kind of where we're at, the status of the Wayne Hansen Wargame YouTube channel. Let's run through some of these comments here. Chris says, I'm halfway through watching a 2002 documentary of World War I that is on Tubi. It is shockingly graphic. Did not expect that. Yeah, there's some good documentaries that in 2002, obviously, so that's even already 20 years old, but I feel like nowadays we're seeing all kinds of documentaries, and again, that one's 20 years old, that are coming out. You're seeing them you can find them on Netflix, Tubi, good one, Hulu, and depending on what you're watching, some of them seem to have a little bit of a axe to grind, or they kind of have, you know, a political angle they're taking. But if you're just looking for the history, there's a lot of good ones out there. Watch Japan's War in Color, amazing World War II documentary talking about Japan's point of view and letters from soldiers and survivors in Japan. Where was that at? And Feiner 27. Where was that at? Was that on Netflix or Tubi, or just pick it up somewhere else? It says, thanks for the mention, Wayne. It's a strategic war game about the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648. Point to point, CDG, and 2 players. Ooh. Sounds like you know exactly what you're doing with that one. Having fun with that, Daniel. All right. James says, the more videos I see on most fearful sacrifice, the more I regret not pre-ordering the game. It looks fantastic. Yeah, it is. Now, James, apologies, I can't remember where you are at. I know it is available, obviously, from the publisher still. And then if you go to, if you're in the United States, without stock again. All right. So if you're in the United States, I can share that tab. Why is it not working? It's weird. Hang on, guys. Maybe like they changed to something in StreamYard here. I can't get pulled up, but go to Miniature Market. I guess I don't advertise for them. They don't pay me to advertise for them or anything. But I buy a lot of stuff from them because they're in St. Louis, based out of St. Louis, and I'm just down the road, 3.5 hours away or so. But they have a Most Fearful Sacrifice. You can buy cheaper than direct from the publisher, although you're not supporting them directly. So it's up to you what you want to do. It's out of stock right now, but you can do like a reminder on it. And I know they're getting restocks in, at least for now. I did see that Herman Lutman, the designer, said that the game is, they expect to sell out. And I mean, I think it could be sooner rather than later. Oh, James, I'm in Canada shipping. Okay, sorry about that. All right, yeah, I'll throw it out there. I use Miniature Market for most of the time when I'm purchasing a game, right? It's gonna be Miniature Market if they have it in stock, which they have a lot of war games. But again, it's their U.S. company, so I'm sure I don't know what their overseas. No, their case would be overseas, but their shipping to Canada would be. Screaming Fire Pacific is one I'm most interested in. Yeah, so that's going to be next. So Most Fearful Sacrifice, like I said, I'm finishing up. I just did the one video. I'm going to do my filming tutorial probably after this live stream is done, if my voice holds. Did a whole bunch of, the playthrough took a little while, and then usually by the end of this, my voice starts getting a little goofy. But then, so we'll see if I can finish up otherwise tomorrow I should really get the rest of my videos done on the Most Fearful Sacrifice, which again, you guys know, right? I film them, and then I have to do a lot of post editing and stuff, and then I get them scheduled out ahead of time. Try to do them every few days or so. Obviously, with me being busy, I haven't been able to get the videos done that I wanted, but that's okay. So we will go ahead and just work on those for the future here. But yeah, Scream Fire Pacific will be the next one I'll do because I have it in order. Since it was sent to me, I like to make sure that I get in. Any of them are sent to me, I try to get done kind of in order as they're sent to me. So that'll be the next one. Vanner talking about the documentary. It's on YouTube. Okay, cool. Chris says, for the love of a lifetime of good die rolls, I wish companies would not print maps with X that are smaller than the counters. Just drives my CM nuts. Yeah, or the hexes. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Daniel, which documentary YouTube channels, websites do you recommend? Ooh, so if anyone else has them, has recommendations, definitely share. I like, and I don't have YouTube pulled up because I'm trying not to have too many tabs up at once as you guys here. Hang on. So I really like, let me check my subscriptions. Come on, where are they at? Are you there? So guys like Real Life Lore, which I guess it's not really documentaries, but he has some good stuff. Let me go through here. Let's see. I got a bunch of, I've everything on, my YouTube subscriptions is like 80 things. So like, they're not all, it's not like it's all history or war games, right? I've got all kinds of other stuff. Invicta, obviously a lot of Roman history, right? Roman Republic, Roman Empire. but other stuff too, all kinds of other stuff as well. But just some fantastic little videos, and I think most of them are like 30 minutes or less. You know what I mean? So it's not even like you're spending hours on them. Not that's that big a deal. Let's see, Battle Order. Although he hasn't posted a video. Oh, he just did a day ago. Okay, Battle Order is another YouTube page or site. Trying to think. Did I say? I'm just looking down through again. Apologies. I maybe should have been prepared, but I'm looking through my. I have so many things I'm subscribed to. Oh my gosh, I gotta get rid of some of these. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're gonna call it there. So there's like 3 of them there I just gave you. That'll have to do for now. Holy smokes, I'm sure there'll be a whole other topic for show. That is 2 royalties for you now. James, hooked on World War II TV on YouTube. Fantastic interviews. All right. All kinds of good stuff. So plenty of things out there. All right. So today's topic, war game components. Let's dive in. You know you love them. You know you love to hate them. Which we start with first. I say maps, mounted and paper maps. Okay, line up. I want everyone on one side, mounted maps, everyone on the other side, paper maps, and then charge each other, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, charge. So, war game components, right? So, talking about different war game components, maps, we'll start with that. I'm thinking talking about counters, right? Traditional counters on a sprue versus the pre-rounded, individually die-cut counters. Different types of player aids, rule books. We won't dive into the content of rule books. We've talked about that already. And then maybe print on demand versus traditional printers. So a lot of different ideas. And anything else you guys want to talk about with components. Oh, and a box and a lid. So for the maps, war game maps, when I started, here we go. So it begins. Paper, mounted, first battle, Chris versus James. Ooh, Bill, White Dog Canvas with the, I like that. Good suggestion. Good suggestion. So I've had some canvas stuff from them, or Hollenspiel, I think Hollenspiel. And then I was going to say the jigsaw puzzle, but not Victory Point Games jigsaw puzzle, which is still kind of lame, but like the thick, almost mounted, like really heavy duty jigsaw style from, or actually, depending. So there's jigsaw style from White Dog Games, had them for a little bit. I think they went away from that. And then so did Hollenspiel. They had like a special edition where they had the solid, so that same material, super thick and solid. Like it wasn't even a mount. It's not mounted. It was like a piece of wood. It's pretty cool, actually. I had that for Agricola. Agricola, Master of Britain. So for maps, I started off, I think as most people, was like, oh, mounted's a way to go. And then I was like, what is paper crap? But right away I picked up plexiglass. Now I don't want to talk about like accessories. So we're not going to get fully into like all the different plexis and clippers and things like that. I want to save that for another show, and counter trays, all that stuff. We'll save that for another show. But for actual maps himself, at this point, because of the way my channel works and all this different games I cover, as you can see, we got more coming. There are, I'm not for any particular kind of map. Certainly not map, was it paper or mounted? I will say that I really enjoy a high quality mounted map. So I suppose if I had a preference, I would say mounted first. I like the heft, the feel, both from a player perspective, just look at it as another war gamer. I like that mounted map that I can just set down, get straight, and I don't mind if it comes in it's a little wonky. It's funny that people complain about that, right? They're like, well, the mounted map is doesn't lay completely flat out of the game board, out of the box. So 1 point for paper. Oh, you think your paper map lays flat out of the box? Probably not. You either have it under a piece of plexiglass, so you already have to have something else to get it flat, or if you don't, well, good for you. But I've only seen a couple people that are play games with paper maps that aren't under anything, and whenever I see the pictures, it usually drives me a little crazy. I don't have OCD, but definitely drives me crazy to see like the paper tilted up, and then like the counters are kind of on the edge, and you look like they're gonna slide. I'm like, no, they're gonna slide off that hex. Don't do it. But mono maps, yeah, I'd say I prefer them. But oh yeah, neoprene. Oh yeah, neoprene. Mono maps I prefer. But at this point, with paper maps, I'm fine with them too. Doesn't really matter, per se for me. Daniel says mounted if price is reasonable. Paper seems to be a cheaper option, but some blocks with paper maps are not cheap. Is that true? So like even the Ziplocs with paper maps? I know that some of the smaller publishers may be a little harder for them. Matte polypropylene is my favorite. Is that like plastic or something? I wouldn't mind either kind of map, but I don't have plexiglass for my paper maps yet. LOL. Well, you got to get some. You got to get some. Hook you up. Kilroy, Robert, paper for tactical battles. Ooh, mounted for signal maps, strategic plus operational. Ooh, yeah. See, he's a pro, guys. This guy's like a pro war gamer here. That's not, I don't think I differentiate between, the scope or the scale when it comes to the map style that I want. I just look at it as like mounted is usually preferable, but paper works too. But obviously, Robert, like saying, he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. Because he's on, he's on over there with what's his name? Oh man, no enemies here. What's his name? Dan, Crazy Dan, and I mean that in the best way. Single, sure. Chris says I scan all my paper maps and reprint them to a larger size. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool idea. Never done anything like that. But I've said this before because I know, Chris, you're the one who's getting the like most fearful sacrifice, right? That you're like, did the print and play option, which I was like, man, that's a lot of stuff to print and play. But correct me if I'm wrong, you're the one who was able to do that. You said you have access to stuff where you can print stuff pretty easily, which is awesome. That's fantastic. Otherwise, I think that'd be kind of cool. I'd say I've never done it. So when I did, and it may be the same size though, so I'm not sure. But anyway, I don't know if you guys noticed when I did my Invaders from Dimension X playthrough recently, the map was a mounted map. It's really like a really, really, really thick cardstock. It wasn't actually like mounted in the sense that it was the wrapped, right? On the sides mounted, but it was like this thick cardstock, right? So basically hard, like it's hard. It's not foldable at all. That I had made, I picked up the print and play version in addition to the regular version, and for the print and play version, I think I got it really cheap or free or something. I don't know, but I sent the maps to like Print and Play Magic or something like that, and had them mounted. I had one done on mounted and one done on neoprene, which Bill will get to that. And the neoprene one was printed too dark. Normally, I love neoprene. Again, Bill will get that in a second. But the mounted looks fantastic. So that's what I use. So if you notice, it wasn't paper. It was actually like a mounted hard map. The equivalent of it anyway. Bill, so DBG neoprene. Yeah, neoprene, man. That's really the way to go. That's better than all of them. Forget it. Forget the mounted too, because with neoprene, it's going to be flat. It's going to, and 99% of the time, if it's not, it's just like with the mounted or paper, you can put a couple books on there overnight. Next day, you're going to be fine. You can, it's very thick and sturdy. It's not going to be moving. I like the grip too. So like with card games, especially, the downside of like a paper map or plexi, or mounted, I meant mounted or plexi on over paper, is the fact that cards will slide a little bit, I find. So if you have a neoprene mat, the cards, man, they just stick. Same thing with counters, really. They're not moving. Now, the counters don't really slide. I don't think on the other one's bad enough. Cards are more the issue. So that's why with something like Warfighter, I have neoprene mats for the modern and the World War II and the Pacific, maybe. I don't know. And so that way they're not sliding around, right? Like you set them down, even if they have sleeves on them, makes them extra slick. That neoprene, it holds them, grips them tight. Daniel says a mounted map will be more expensive, so a marketing issue to target a broader audience with a cheaper price might be paper for companies. However, mounted looks better. It does, and it gives the impression of quality. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen, people who maybe have never played a war game, but they're interested in it, and you'll see them make comments like, and they'll buy. Think of companies that are a little bit more of like in the middle. So maybe Hollandspiel, right? Hollandspiel has all kinds of games. I know they like describing them as weird, and some of them are weird. I just think that's kind of their kitschy phrase they like to say is weird. Our games are weird. Well, everyone's a little weird, but some of their games are not war games, right? Some are like literally a hex encounter war game. Some are kind of in the middle, and some are straight like Euros and train games and shit like that. Well, they will have people that will buy a game of theirs and not realize that like it's not mounted, it's not a traditional publisher, since it's print on demand from Blue Panther, and so then they'll get complaints, and I've seen them on there. It's not me calling it out. I've just seen people who bought these games complain on their their Board Game Geek thread, or maybe Twitter or something like that, where they complain. And let's not talk about Twitter, about the quality and saying, well, it's a paper map. What is this? Like, this is a piece of paper. Yeah, sorry, that's kind of how it works for some of these, these small publishers and smaller games, or war games in general. As we know, a lot of them are on paper maps. Also, I mean, if you have a big war game, even if they have the potential, they're not going to put them on a mounted map if it's going to take 6 maps. Not that I play 6 mappers. James says I grew up on Avalon Hill games, so I think mounted is in my blood. Yeah, those are the OG, right? Chris, yes, in the local company custom game, it's just counters like Blue Panther does. I do love those big and chunky counters. Fantastic counters. Love those counters. Chris says, I would love to play in a neoprene map. It's the best. Neoprene maps are the best. Neoprene map/mat would be the best, right? So if you had like a map for a game that the printing, now you don't get as fine quality of detail. Let's say quality, but you don't get as fine detail on neoprene, I find. So the colors are usually a little darker, a little more muddied, even from games like other games when they have a neoprene mat. I think it's just that like rubbery material just doesn't hold the ink in the print like a piece of paper would, right? Or a mounted map, anything paper product. So, talking about counters, you brought up counters. So traditional counters versus the pre-rounded, the individually die cut. Yeah, work great. Sleeve cards on neoprene mats worked great. Just like in general, and on the neoprene mat, that rubber material, it's going to hold counter, card, etc. much better, keep them from sliding around. I bet sleeve cards you place on a mounted map is probably the slickest, and like I cannot keep them held in one spot. They're just like kind of sliding a little bit every time you touch the pile. But yeah, so talking about counters, switching over to counters a little bit. I love and much prefer the individually die cut counters. As you can tell, I'm sure already, and you probably couldn't tell from my videos and everything, I'm a little bit of a component snob. I want high quality components. Now I accept the realities of companies, and I'm not going to ding a game for a paper map if that's what makes sense for it, right? So like, let's be clear here. That's why you don't see me with every time I review a magazine game or a folio game or a box game that has a paper map and right go, this map is paper. I may mention it, right? I want you to be aware, usually during the recon unboxing, right? I'll point it out. But I'm not sitting there saying, I can't believe that it's paper map. It's 2022, everything should be mounted. Well, it doesn't make sense for everything to be mounted. You can have a mounted map come in a freaking magazine game. I suppose you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know. A $75 game. They're already expensive enough. Magazine games are now like $50 each. James says, just open enemy action Kharkov, and the pre-round counters are really nice. Kharkov. Heard of that one. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to check that out sometime. So the pre-individually die cut counters, love that. Again, some games it just doesn't make sense when you get SPQR and it has 9 or 10 counter sheets, right? Okay, do I expect them all? And that's talking about Great Battles of History game. I gotta squeeze that in, of course. And it has hundreds, thousands of counters, it's 2,000 counters or whatever it is. No, you can't. You're probably not going to have the individually die cut the larger, because you're just not going to be able to fit them all in there. You're going to have double the counter sheets. The box is going to be, an 8-inch box. It's just going to be insane. The game's going to cost $300. I do like to see, though, the smaller games and just having those higher quality individually die cut counters. I think that, the one thing that you see as a problem is probably half-inch counters, the old school half-inch counters. Those are a problem for a lot of people, for older people, for vision, for younger people, because they don't want to play a game where the counters are that big. You know what I mean? They don't want to do that. They don't want to learn a war game. Like I remember when I started war games, I was like, oh, some of these are small. Like, man, look at these things. And I have good vision, really good vision. I mean, I was like, man, look at these little tiny things coming from Ameritrash and stuff, right? Where I'm holding counters, markers, whatever, whatever it would be like, but cardboard pieces, individually die cut like that big, and cards, beautiful cards, all these things. I went to war games. I'm like, these could be a little bit better. It's just the topic and theme obviously caught my eye and then drew me in from there. Chris says, my first game was GEV from Metagaming, and those counters were printed on ultra-thin card and no perforations. Everything today is gravy compared to those days. I'm glad it's gravy nowadays. I wouldn't want that, man. It'd be rough. Ultra-thin card and no perforations. So, like, they weren't cut at all. You had to, like, scissors or something. Or a shunk. Guillotine. Lucky Man says, will inflation and the rising cost of games, enemy action art ends at 145, start to hurt the hobby? I wonder. Well, I think that, the reality is a lot of things are more expensive and getting more expensive. And so I think it is going to hurt. And it's going to hurt some people or not be able to make the purchases. I remember literally months ago, years ago, whatever, people just recently, right, call it recent, seeing people a lot of times either younger, less money, or retirees who maybe are on a fixed income, that type of thing, saying, I only have so much money for so many games, right? And they're more limited in what they can buy. Well, if you have X amount of money, and yes, your income may have gone up, hopefully, right? What if it doesn't keep up with inflation, which, let's be honest, most people right now aren't. Inflation, say in America, you're an American, and inflation is 8%. Well, I mean, I didn't get an 8% raise last year. I'm not going to get an 8% raise next year either. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. So income's not going to quite keep up with inflation right now. And so if you factor that in with, we're asking for higher quality, right? We want, as I've been saying, I want mounted maps if I can get them. I want individually die cut pre-rounded counters, which I believe are a more expensive printing process than the classic, like, old-fashioned sprue, and they're punched in, but you got to punch them out and maybe clip them depending if you want to or not. I believe it's more expensive. Factor those in, right? Those things in, right? And we want, right, as me as a reviewer, I say, and I tell people, I want higher quality. I want good looking games. I want better art. I want, so I don't want it to be the designer also did the art and the arts. I want the artwork to stand on its own. So I want a professional artist doing it. So that costs more money, etc. Right? So these production costs are going up. So yeah, the games be more expensive, and that's just a reality. So overall, at this point, yeah, you're probably gonna be able to purchase a little less, a little fewer games. So you may see, instead of a whole bunch of games being bought, people buy a few less, and they just, concentrate their purchases on just a couple they really want. Daniel says, pre-rounded die cut counters, it saves time clipping counters, and the game looks better. I couldn't agree more, Daniel. Metagaming rules, the old school, Invasion of the Air Eaters, Ogre, Fantasy Trip, etc. Not played any of those. Avalon Hills, Hitler's War was a metagaming Ziploc first. These counters came out horribly. Magic 12 were okay with scissors and extremely anxious to play. 90-degree angles were a rarity. It's like my first time clipping. Again, we'll talk about clipping probably like another show. But my first clipper, no good at it. Chris says, at Bill, I'm singing your verses in the choir. For kid that only got $5 a week for allowance. Those games were the gateway for me, and they are fun. I do have Ogre on Steam. Never played it, though. Daniel says, VPG counters with laser cut and paper map. So VPG was one of the companies that when I got into wargaming, right, like that I got into it with them. So for instance, in Magnificent Style, which you guys know is one of my favorite war games of all time. Evil Genius Herman Luttman, right, originally published by VPG, and it was that like laser cut jigsaw map. And is it a jigsaw map or was it the paper map? Did it come with both? I feel like the one I bought had both. You can use the paper map or it had a jigsaw map, I think. Definitely the laser cut and like not Blue Panther cut, how they cut theirs, but like laser cut where it was sooty and it came with a little napkin and to wipe. It was probably, I remember getting my first one, and the first one I got from them, I want to say was the Nuclear Combat against the Ruskies or whatever game. No politics. But I think that one, same deal, is like you had to, it came with a little napkin to wipe off the counters and stuff. Very funny. I remember when I first got into Wargame, like I said, I was a little bit of a culture shock coming from Ameritrash games, higher quality, similar prices, but you get less quality. Unfortunately, obviously, volume discount, right? You print 2,000 copies of a Wargame, you print 20,000 copies of a Ameritrash game. You can afford the higher quality components for the same price for that Ameritrash game. So even the used game market is a crap fest. People wanting $10 less than MSRP for a used game. Screw that, says Tony. I hear you. And it's tough because I understand that I think a lot of us, and then me included, we view a lot of our war games as like not an investment, right? Investment you expect to grow over time. I don't expect any of my games to grow in value over time, but we expect them to kind of hold their value to a certain degree. So I think that, when you have a game and you spend, say you're buying this game, right? You spend $80, including shipping on it. And then you get it and you play it and you maybe like it, maybe don't, be like, I'm getting rid of this game. You're like, I'll try, $60, it's an 8. We paid 80 with shipping. Say it was 60, you paid, or 65, you paid $15 shipping. So you're like, all right, well, I'll sell it for 50 and charge 15 ship. It just starts getting weird. And I get it that you're like, well, as the person buying, right, you're like, so if they're selling for 50 and 15 shipping, that's 65, or I can get it, 80, it's 15 more for brand new from somewhere else. Okay, I'm probably going to want the new one. So now the used market, but these people will post their games, and I've done it too. I'll post a game for sale, and I don't really update the price if it doesn't sell sometimes for a while, or just forget it or whatever. Because I've got a stack of games over here that I'm trying to sell. I just post on the Facebook content marketplace, whatever. So I'm not trying to sell them on here, but I have to update. Howdy. Hello from Russian War Gamers. Howdy. Welcome. Chris says GEV is the sequel to Ogre, and I think a better game. You don't even need to play with ogres. Countless times playing the breakthrough scenario. So you guys are talking about stuff I don't even talk about. See, I don't even need to be involved anymore. You guys got it. You guys got it down. Ooh, Frankie with a hot take. So Frank says, I'd honestly rather buy used when the game is already punched, clipped, and stickered. So sometimes it's nice to get a used game, that is like ready to go, right? It's from a gamer perspective. Again, I have a semi-unique perspective, right? Because a lot of times with my games, I'm looking to do a recon and unboxing video and then go from there. Well, it should be or needs to be how I do them is I don't do them with used games, right? Like I don't do my unboxing with used games. People do that. I've seen them. Kilroy was here. He does videos where he'll cover like older games, start even playing whatever, he'll like do like an overview of it or whatever, basically. But so I need to have a brand new game for that. I want to have a brand new game for that. But from a actual player perspective, yeah, sometimes it is nice to bust out a game and like it's done. Maybe the counters have been clipped if you like clipped counters, or blocks have been stickered. There's nothing fun about stickering blocks. I don't enjoy it. It's not overly relaxing. I know people, just very relaxing to me. Well, there's a lot of things I can do that are relaxing, don't involve. Oh man, I got it wrong. I got to redo it. Give me a break. That's not relaxing. Steve, howdy, Steve. Welcome. Happens a lot on the constant world marketplace where the same few guys keep listing the same overpriced games. It gets annoying. Yeah, I get it. I see it. I should have to update my Facebook listing of lower all the prices on my games, but see, I wouldn't repost them. But I wouldn't repost them with the same price. If people aren't buying at that price, lower the price. You know what I mean? Give a little break. Especially, you'll see people fighting over $5, right? Like I had, and I'm not calling names at all, but I have a game. I'm like, okay, selling these 2 games, and it's like, here, I want, $40 a game, so 80. But if you buy both of them, I'll give them to you for 75. Take 5 off, and the shipping will be cheaper because it can fit 2 of them into a different size box. Like it'll save you on shipping, save you $5 on them, a little discount, right, for buying 2 games. And then they're like, oh, I'll give you 70. It's like, okay, fine, but I'll probably take fine. Here's fine for 70. I don't care. It's $5, right? $5 will not make or break me. I understand $5 is more money to some people, less money to some other people. Everyone's different. Because I've seen people that are like, oh my gosh, $5. I don't know. I mean, it's the price of a Big Mac or something, right? It's a price of nowadays maybe more. Big Mac maybe more than $5. I don't know, but I'm going off on a tangent here. You guys know I do that. You got me all worked up. I'm going on a tangent about people selling games overpriced and all this stuff. I already had a comment. One of my last videos, someone was like, I turned it off after an hour. He was too negative. Which, first of all, if you watch for an hour, thank you, because I think my average viewers watch for like 15 to 20 minutes. So if you watch for an hour, thank you very much, even if you did tune me out because you thought I was too negative. Nice for Commands and Colors, talking about the pre-stickered and everything like that. So player aids. Let's talk about player aids for a little bit. So I need a good player aid. If I do not get one in the box, I will make one. Now, the ones I make are not good in the sense of graphical design because I don't do graphics. I do, gameplay vids, videos on YouTube, and I do text. So you guys can see, make sure I get the right. See those back there? I made those. Those are my player aids for A Most Fearful Sacrifice. So that is a complete sequence of play rundown of the game, and that is a description of how to conduct defensive fire, how to conduct fire combat, how to conduct assault combat. That is not something I will probably share, not because it is super secret, double secret probation style, high tech, national security style, but because they're just literally, as you can see, probably tell, it's just text. It's some text that I got, some bolded text, little headings, a little subheading, whatever. But I need to appreciate that, Steve. I need to be able to play through my games. And again, I've talked about this before, is that yes, I need that for the videos, right? Because I don't want to sit there. Let me check the rule book. It still happens. I'm not perfect. I don't do this full time. I don't have the rule books memorized. And it's not I cover so many games, I can't memorize them all. Although, as I've said before, many times, I already said earlier in the video, I spend time on my games. When I film videos for them, rest assured, I have spent hours playing that game. And I have played it more than once. I have at the very least played an entire game from beginning to end, which not all reviewers do. And they've admitted that. Some of them have admitted that. Yeah, we didn't play the whole game, but we have a good idea what it's like. You really didn't play a whole game? And you're going to offer a review? Give me a break. But I'll play through, and vast majority, I play multiple times. If it's a shorter game, I'm playing it a ton. What was Hidden Strike, American Revolution? I think I had like 25 plays that I recorded. I didn't record them, but I logged them. I kept track. So I would see if I could actually win, and then what my win-loss record would be. I think I got like 2 wins in 24 games. Very difficult. But anyway, and same one again, tangent. I just go off on tangents. But so I need to have all that stuff. So I have like, if a game doesn't come with great player aids, I will make my own if I have to. Generally, sequence of play, run through all that stuff. But it helps me as a player too, right? I want to have the sequence of play on a player aid. I want to have the terrain effects chart, somewhere. If it's not on, in the rule book, let me rephrase that. Excuse me. I want it on a player aid. If it's not on the map, if it's on the map, that's okay. I can read the map. If it's in the rule book, okay, cool. But I want it on a player aid. I don't like my nose in a rule book when I'm playing. I want to check the rule book every now and then. I do not want it to be, I know that every step of this particular phase, I have to go to page 8 on the rule book and read, okay, here we go. Here's the table. I roll on this table. I don't want that table in the rule book. That table should be on the map, or it should be in a player aid that I can hold. Or in my case, as I've said repeatedly many times, I put you can see I put like, and then I actually have another player aid someone else made on Board Game Geek, although like I don't use it as much. Sorry. It's not bad. It's just not style I like. So I had to make my own. But and then I'll tape them up there sometimes. Like I'll have literally, what was the game that I had? I showed you guys a picture on Facebook. I had like 6 pieces of paper, basically like 6, 7x11 sheets of paper with information. Oh, I think it was Midway Solitaire. So Steve, too negative? LOL. I'd watch you anytime, Wayne, instead of some fanboy who raves on and on about an average or crappy game. Yeah, that's, yeah, it is what it is. He has his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, even if he's kind of wrong. I mean, I'm not negative. Am I? Am I too negative? Tell me, guys. Am I too negative? I'll change my ways. Be like, hey, everybody, this game is great, no matter what. Wayne, do you have a format to prepare your video play rates? Can you share it? It's nothing special. I mean, I have I have Google Drive, and I just have, what I'll do is I follow, because I generally have the same idea, right? Is that what I want to do is, for me, what it works for me is to have the sequence of play, and then usually separate, sometimes in the middle of it, but usually separate, right? So I'll have the sequence of play, whatever it's 3 steps, 40 steps, whatever. And then at the end of it, I'll put the things that are more complicated. So like, oh, this combat, or like I said, for Most Fearful Sacrifice, right? Because there's fire combat, and then there's defensive fire, which is fire combat really, but then there's fire combat and there's assault combat. So I have those 2 separate. So the procedure for them, right? So I don't have to sit there going through the rule book. I don't have to check this or that. It's literally in front of me. All I have to do is I'm playing, right? I'm looking down, and I have my counters, to do, and I move them, and I'm this, and it's like I just look up, and I can see my player aids, and I can read it. So if I forget, okay, what's the next? Oh, yeah, that's right. I have to make sure to check for this. And then at the end of the assault combat, they're all good, right? Oh, wait, assault, assault or breakthrough. Oh, no, I need to do that. Okay. And it tells me how to do it. That's what I like. I liked it. That way I'm not, because in my mind, it's almost like playing, being able to look up and move my head and just look around when my hands are at the board is ideal. And that's where those come into play. And if I have to go, okay, where's the rule book? Okay, I set it over here. All right, what page is that on? Automatically, I'm disengaged, right? I'm out of the game. I'm now looking away from it. I'm picking up a different book. I'm leafing through it, trying to find what I need, versus, and it takes more time. So even beyond the whole, Wayne filming videos and it, I want them to flow quickly and all that. As a player, I don't want to be doing that constantly. Now, you need a rule book to learn the game. You should. It should be a good rule book. Let's not go over that ground again. But the player has just really helped me. But they're not special. They're just literally generally a sequence play I write for me, knowing what I need to keep track of and I want to be reminded of. And then any, the procedures for like a combat or whatever part of the game that I'm. Chris says, I like it, the CRT and train key on a separate sheet than just on the map or in the rule book. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have that on the player aid. Most Fearful Sacrifice has it on the player aid, which is really nice. Has a couple double-sided player aids. Font is very small, as I talked about in my recon, and we talked about, I think, last week. But overall, very nice. BCafe says, do you like the player aids you organize in the order of the turn sequence? Yes. So like I said, I do like that. I do, when I make my own, I kick out the larger stuff to the side and put at the end. So again, right, sequence of play, and then maybe during the sequence of play, right, I'll mention fire combat. Step 3 of whatever this phase is fire combat. If it's complicated, right? If it's super easy, if it's 2 sentences where I can put in that it's add up the strength points and roll that many d6s, and everything that's a 5 or a 6 is a hit, or something, right? Like a very simple style combat, I'll just put that there. But if it's more complicated and has multiple steps, like Black Swan system does here, then I kick it out, right? So it says fire combat there, but then I have it on a separate sheet, basically at the end of what I'm writing, right? So I have, like say the player aid here, or excuse me, the that's the sequence of play, and a little bit at the top, and then the rest of it, so sheet and a half approximately of sequence of play, and then a sheet and a half of describing in detail the procedures that are within that sequence of play, if that makes sense. Christopher, BGG is great for that. So many people have made amazing play aids. You are right. That's, often I will be able to, I'd say half the time I can go to Board Game Geek, I can download a player aid, and that's all I need. Some now double check them. People make mistakes. I mean, I make mistakes every now and then. People make mistakes. You make, like I had, was it Midway Solitaire? And I downloaded and looked at it, and he had something out of order and something else missing. But don't get me wrong, it was still great. It was still a really nice player aid. It was like 4 or 5 pages he did. So to have like 3 errors in 5 pages is not bad at all. I may have an error back here in mine. Who knows, right? I'm probably not going to put it online for people because there's no need to. Vince, howdy. Hey, mate. Sorry I missed the opening. Long gaming session tonight and a few drinks. All right. That's what I love to hear. Very nice. Great to see you. Great to see. Better late than exactly. Better late than, hey, stop in, come in the beginning, show up later, halfway through. Fashionably late, come strutting in, looking cool hat on. I get how it is. Try to draw the attention away from me. Kilroy says, negative review comments are just as important, at least to me. Yeah, it's and I don't want to dwell on it. I mean, I talk about it every week, but I guess, hey, it's my channel, right? It's topic's going to be my channel and kind of related to that, in my opinion on things. And then, of course, all your guys' I want your guys' input on everything. When it comes to reviews, comments, yeah, just positive, negative, they're all valuable when done appropriately. Again, I've now, when I first started doing my reviews, I did them really more as like just off the cuff, right? I would play a game, I'd show the game, either describe it and then do my review part, or I would actually play it if it was a shorter game and then do my review part either way. But it was sort of off the cuff thoughts, right? Maybe I had a couple of notes, but whatever. Now I do like semi-scripted, right? So I write the review. So I have reviews for the last, I don't know, year or so, all my reviews, basically since I switched to my like overview and review format. I write my reviews ahead of time, scripted, and I cover again. I do like a actual an introduction. I do a overview of the game, right? I do pros and cons, and then I do my final thoughts. That's all scripted out. Now I say things that I maybe didn't write down. It's not like I have to follow the script and that's it. But I've written something, and that way it allows me to cover more things. It allows me to hopefully not forget as many things. It also allows me to explain things, right? Because sometimes off the cuff of your head or off the cuff, you'll say something, but you don't explain it. And in a review, that's kind of the key, right? It's not, hey, I didn't like this rule book. This was a bad rule book. Okay, now on to the next thing. Wait, what? Well, why was it bad? Well, what makes you think it's bad? Okay, Wayne thinks it's bad. And maybe I agree with Wayne on a lot of games, so maybe I'll probably think it's bad. But why does he think it's bad? Oh, I'm describing why, right? I think it's bad because this sequence of play is missing something. And there are terms that are used that are not described, they're not explained, right? The scoring is wrong, right? The rulebook says how to do scoring, then the player aid has it different. So which one is right? Et cetera, right? Like things like that. I'll mention those things. And that is it negative? Yeah. I mean, right. It's criticism. I'm being critical of it, but I'm also explaining why I'm critical of something. And same thing when I like something, right? I say, oh man, I had a lot of fun with this game. I don't just say this game was a blast, game of the year, go buy it, the end. No, I say why I like it. I say why I love it. Oh my God, because the theme, the artwork, the card play is great. The dice, you get to roll some dice, but it's not too much luck, right? There's luck mitigation combined with the luck. In Magnificent Styles example, heavy luck dependent, right? A lot of dice rolling. But there's something about the push your luck aspect allows you to like mitigate a little bit, right? Because you have less of a chance of something bad happening, and then the chance increases as you're moving, you're advancing, say your regiments, and then it reaches a point where it's like, okay, you're being foolish now, but sometimes you just want to risk it all anyway, and you'll throw those dice. I love that because it gives you that opportunity to adjust the risk factor for yourself and how you want to play, and that's what I'm talking about when I try to describe everything. So, again, back to talking about my reviews. I just can't stop talking about myself. All right, Vince says, keep it liberated 4 new guys. And when do we start halfway through the first game, so we ended late? Oh, man. Chris asks, would you consider an example play like you see that is in the rulebook, like you see in many GMT games, a play aid? Yeah, I mean, I like... I don't know, I should have backspace more in the last post. It's just... so we meant this one, Chris. So I like that. I really like an example play. I do find that it seems like a lot of times they don't. What am I trying to say? They don't add a ton. They add a little. Like theoretically, an example play should be amazing, right? Here's a rulebook, tells you how to play the game, teaches you the game, then here's how you look it up, etc. Oh, and by the way, here's an example play. We're going to run you through the first turn. We're running through 2 turns. Beautiful. Oh, I'm going to learn so much. I know exactly how to play. But I feel like the examples they use a lot of times in their example, because a lot of times they'll do it right, they kind of set it up, which it makes sense too, which is fine, because when I'm teaching a game tutorial, often I will fudge die rolls or fudge it to show you guys things, right? I've done some of my narrative games where like my plane's about to be shot down, but I didn't get to show anything else. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to get shot down because I'm going to show you guys how to do this. You know, it's not cheating, I swear. I just want to show this, right? So I feel like the examples of play sometimes will be too much of kind of their own idea of like what they want to show, but it doesn't cover the examples. It doesn't cover enough examples, right? It's an example of play. It's not example of all play. It doesn't cover every situation in combat. I think things like line of sight, right? Think of that, right? The game will have, the example play will have, well, this unit's going to shoot at that unit, and that's it. Well, that's one example of line of sight, and it may help you because it may say, oh, okay, so if I can shoot at them when they're in the woods terrain. Okay, woods is blocking, but not if they occupy woods. You can still see like the edge of them, so you can still shoot them. Okay, cool. But what about hillsides? What about rocky terrain? What about top down? If you're shooting down on one, but there's a unit in the way, but then there's they're lower another level. Can you shoot at them? Can you shoot over the other unit? Hopefully the rules explain that. Example of play may not cover that. So sometimes they're nice, but they don't always cover everything. They simply can't, because generally speaking, right, they are in there. You have a 20-page rule book, 4-page example of play. That's not going to cover the entire game. Daniel says, player aids in 1 page and 1 side will make it easier and faster to check when there is a doubt, instead of more pages and flipping pages constantly. Agreed. Good player aid is very concise, has the necessary information. You shouldn't be able to learn player aid. To me, great player aids. You don't learn the game off of player aid. You shouldn't be able to learn the game off of player aid. That's what the rulebook's for. You should be able to play the game off of player aid, with the caveat that you will have to check the rulebook for clarifications, extra steps, etc. But I don't want a player aid. Oh, man. Ooh, I'm about to get started here. Nothing fires me up more than a sequence of play that doesn't include everything. Oh, that drives me crazy. Oh, doggy. I'm getting fired up just thinking about it. If you give me a player aid that's a sequence of play and it comes in the box, and you're like, here, you can play the game with this. Oh, sequence of play, perfect. Set it up, look at it. Oh, that's how you play. Not how you play, right? This is the order things are played in. Okay, this phase, this phase. You think to yourself, I got the phases. We're good. And then you realize, maybe you read the rule, maybe you've already read the rule book, so you kind of knew. And then you check the player aid. Okay, oh, wait a second. There's something missing here. There's a step missing. There's a couple steps missing. I've literally seen player aids with a sequence of play come from a publisher that has steps missing from it, like completely not listed. How the can you do that? How can you release a sequence of play? And I'm not saying you should describe everything, right? Again, sequence of play on a player aid should give an overview, right? It should list what it happens in what order, right? We're talking about, yeah, it's the command decision phase. It's the advanced turn marker, command decision. It is artillery bombardment phase. it's card draw phase, etc. Right? Like it's in order. Okay, cool. Why? How can your player aid? How can you not list the artillery bombardment phase, but it's part of the game, right? You should just know that. Well, if I freaking knew that, I wouldn't need a player aid. I wouldn't need a sequence of play. It should help guide you, right? Give me reminders, man. We all play a bunch of different games. Most of us don't play just one game. We don't just buy a single game and play it, right? And just sit there. I only play Omaha Beach. That's all I ever play. No, you play other games too. So like you need those extra mnemonics, right? You need those things that you learn it and you are still learning it. Almost feel like there's no game that I've learned, right? I'm always learning them. Even if I played it 12 hours plus hours and I've done videos and I've taught tutorials and people comment on like your tutorial was perfect. You made no mistakes, Wayne. Waiting for one of those days. It'll happen one day. Odds are I'm still learning the game, right? There's still going to be a scenario. There's something's going to happen that I'm going to go, uh-oh, I don't know. But I shouldn't have to worry that this player that came in the box doesn't have a correct sequence of play. I'll get off the soapbox on that one for something else now. Feiner 27 says, Wayne, you mentioned Hidden Strike American Revolution. I'm opening that up today. Good. Enjoy it. It's very hard. You will lose a lot. So there was one guy on Board Game Geek, and I'm not gonna call him out. I don't know who he was anyway, so I can't call him out. But I remember him saying that I don't know, problem. There's no problem with the game's difficulty. And let me be clear here. This is a good game. It's a good system. I believe it's too difficult out of the box. I believe it's too punishing. I believe you have to be. It's not just strategy that'll help you win. You need a lot of luck combined. And I don't just mean like, you only win 50-50 max. I mean, like I said before with this game mentioning earlier, I've documented in my phone 24 plays. I won 2 times. I think it took me like 10 times before I won my first game. So it is a very, very too hard. And I mentioned that in my review of it, that I said it's too difficult as is. You just need to fudge it a little bit to make it a little easier. But anyway, it's a good game. But I remember someone saying that I won my first 2 games or something. They lost their first one, then they won the next 2, and then they lost 1, and then they won again or something. They're like, so it's not that hard. I don't know what people are saying. Like they're just playing it wrong, probably. Like, no, I'm playing it right. This game is too hard, and not in a fun way either. Bad way. The fellow gamer said we are all hexually promiscuous. Make sure I'm saying that right. Hexually promiscuous. Yes, we are. Board game YouTubers, Wargame YouTubers, most of all. I cannot only play one game forever or even like 6 games or something. It is game after game, right? On a slow week, right, you guys? I'm like, hey, I only got to play 1 game. Sorry, guys. On a busy week, I'm playing multiple games. Most are covered by the channel, occasionally not, but yeah, it's game after game after game, and so you can't memorize them all. Can't memorize it. If you play a lifestyle game, maybe, right? If you are, hey, I'm a lock and load tactical kind of guy. I like tactical wargaming. I don't play other games. I play Great Battles of History, and that's it. Ancients, Great Battles of History. I go to conventions, and that's what I play. That's what my life revolves around of my hobby lifestyle. Sure. Howdy, Francisco Salto, Brazil. Francisco. Yes, it is. Hidden Strike, American Revolution from Maurice Suckling and Worthington. Maurice Suckling and someone else. Let me pull this up. Not that way. That way. I want to make sure we give credit. Maurice Suckling and Dorian Richard. So you can see I gave it a 7. I have unboxing one of my recons, a tutorial, let's play, and then verdict, review, overview, and review. I did see that Discriminating Gamer, he has a review of it. I'm sure he loved that too. Just like he loved Just like he loved Plains Indian Wars and said it potential game of the year. Game of the year. How can you have a game of the year? Oh, that reminds me. I'm fired up about this. So, first off, tremendous respect for Discriminating Gamer and Cody. Yep, Cody Carlson, right? I believe is his name. Cody Carlson for the content he puts out. He covers a lot of other games, not just war games, right? He's not a war game YouTuber. He's a YouTuber of many different things. But, tremendous respect for him, hard work he does, and his many jaunty hats he has. I'm bald, and bald is beautiful. I embrace it for the most part. I wear a baseball cap every now and then, but no jaunty hats for me. But I've noticed that so he had the Plains Indian Wars. He posted his video, his review, and he said it was potential game of the year. And I'm like, I can't be quiet. This game, again, the core game is fun, right? I mentioned that. But the rule books are trash. The rule books literally are missing information you need to play. You have to go online, or you have to make up your own. Like, you have to just put what you want in there. Okay, fine. You can do that. It's your own game, right? But that's not, to me, that's not a I'm talking about Plains Indian Wars, by the way. Let me pull it up so you guys can see. So his review of it said potential. Yeah, look, another jaunty hat of his. Great game. I mean, early for game of the year. No, game of the year. The rulebook's trash. Both of them, the multiplayer and the single player. How could it be game of the year? So anyway, I posted on his. I posted a comment, and I don't want to rail on him. Like I said, tremendous respect for all the work he does. But I posted a reply on his video on YouTube, and I said basically like, hey, I don't think you should call this a game of the year with this many problems, but great video overall review and all that. And he just responded with one word: thanks. Like, oh, well, I thought we'd have a little dialogue of how you can call it, how he could, and maybe he can explain himself. Maybe he can say, well, I look as that the designers, and they have the designers, John Paniski and Etienne Michaud, have posted enough updates that you can play the game correctly as they wanted. They posted them to Board Game Geek, which is true. And if he said that, maybe he's like, based on that, that's why I can consider a game of the year because they've now corrected the mistakes. Okay, fair enough. But because he just said thanks, I was like, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. I was hoping to engage in a little bit of dialogue, right? We'll have a discussion, maybe get him on here, have a discussion on, can you call a game potential game of your candidate when it's unplayable without making your own rules or after corrections now that it's been printed? All right, moving on. Daniel says, not really a wargame component. What do you think about difficulty and or solitary games are classified? Is this based on playtest or just a designer company decision? Yeah, it's just what they think. And sometimes they're off, sometimes they're super accurate and sometimes they're off, right? Have you ever had a game where, so Midway Solitaire, perfect example. Midway Solitaire from Decision Games, they call it, and let's go ahead and pull this up. I believe they call it a medium heavy, or like, it's like, let me pull it up so I can just double check here. Oop, hit my mic. Sorry, guys. And yeah, not to start any beef with Cody, because again, great job on his channel, all the stuff he covers, all the games they cover over there, Discriminating Gamer. Just as this loads, I'm trying to get this to load here. Why is it not? Sorry, guys. Here it is. Hang on. Maybe this will show it. And then watch this not show it either. Oh my God, it doesn't. All right, so back. Never mind. So the back of the box for Midway Solitaire, I believe it says it's something like a medium heavyweight. Like it's like between medium and heavy. It is not that heavy of a game. I mean, maybe medium. I wouldn't call it light, right? Right at medium, maybe. And you can say, well, it's kind of ticky-tacky Wayne, right? Well, it sounds pretty close. No, because like when you say game is like medium heavy, like you're asking for a lot. This is not, Midway Solitaire is not medium heavy. It's very procedural. There's a lot of procedures, but it's not a heavy game at all. It's even close to heavy. I don't even know if I'd call it a medium weight game. It's like like a medium and then go down a notch. So anyway, yeah, they, designer companies, they just say, okay, this is what it is. I think what happens, the designer basically says, I think this is this. Now, we also have other random things such as the publisher, and I have respect for him. He has sent me review copies, but as usual, I will be totally honest, regardless if I've gotten review copies or not. Stephen Rawling, is it Stephen Rawling or Stephen Rawlings? Of Against the Odds magazines, right? Like Land Trek Publishing Incorporated or something like that is like the publishing company or the company behind Against the Odds magazines. Anyway, he makes sure that a lot of his games will say like not suited for solitaire play, even when you can solitaire them. And I mean by me, and you know me, I'm a little strict, not super, super strict. It doesn't have to have a solitaire bot, but I do expect a certain level of like, no hidden information style, right? But he'll have it where, like Michael Ranello's designs, which I think solitaire very well with the the sunset mechanic or the momentum mechanic, depending on the game, right? Momentum rolls where like you're acting, and then suddenly your turn's over, the other side gets to go, and it like surprises you. That's great for solitaire. It's like chip pull, right? Surprises you who get to go, how long they get to go. He puts those as like not suitable for solitaire, something like that, or like low solitaire. I think it's low solitaire suitability. And he said he just feels that that's appropriate to put that. But like, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I think that type of game is better solitaire than even an I go, you go hex and counter game, right? Because I go, you go, hex and counter. Here's your 100 units. Do whatever battle plan you want completely, and you know exactly what the other side's going to do, right? Super easy. There's no suspense. It's just, okay, these factors, okay, these tack these together, blah, blah, blah. So it would be nice to see a little more uniformity across the hobby, but what are you going to do, right? This isn't like Motion Picture Association where, a movie is rated something because people submit, right, their copy of the movie to the MPAA and they watch it and go, okay, that's PG-13 based on these reasons. And they do, it's not the company, right? It's not Paramount doesn't decide what their movie is going to be rated, right? The MPAA does. Well, we don't have that for Wargaming, and it's really not feasible to do something like that either. Painter, has anyone tried the Worthington Solitaire book games yet? How are the rules well written? I know a lot of people really enjoy them. I have Bismarck Solitaire sent to me by Worthington. I have not played it yet. All right, guys, 5 more minutes. We didn't get to cover. We covered actually we covered pretty much all the stuff I want to talk about. Any questions? Any questions here? We'll wrap it up. Like I said, 5 minutes. Call it by 20. We're about an hour and 13 in, so hour 20 or so we'll call it. So plenty more time here, but any questions you guys got for me or for each other? Anything you want to share? You're right. I should have had you host this. Do you, Daniel, do you get on? You have a webcam and stuff? Maybe next time I'll have you just host it. I'll just sit there and watch. I'll chime in a couple times. So cards. Wargaming cards. I first off don't mind a game with cards, and that gets into system play, right? We're not talking about systems, what kind of systems you like, but I don't mind a wargame that has cards. I do like higher quality cards. Some publishing houses release a lot of games that popular publishers for war games will have kind of low quality cards, and that's a little bit of a bummer. Trying to think so linen finish, right? Linen finish cards, and usually when I do my recons, I'll comment on if they're linen finished. For instance, the most fearful sacrifice, right? The cards here are linen finished. I don't have any cards handy. Never mind. But they're that really nice. They're obviously rounded corners like this. We're not. I mean, if your cards you're shipping are like a complete square with a sharp edge, like that you've cut out with scissors, that's tremendously poor quality. But assuming it's pre-rounded corners and all that for cards, I do like the linen finish. But then you have Flying Pink Games as linen finish on their cards. Worthington does it, right? The linen finish again. It's almost like if you look really close and look in the light, it's almost like a checkerboard pattern, but it's not noticeable on a card, I don't think. I mean, I think it looks great. It feels good too. But you have places like DVG, and obviously tremendous respect for them and all the work they do and all the games they do. But their cards are not linen finish, right? They're a cheaper quality. Clearly, they're a lower quality, right? They get scuffed a little easier. They're not bad. Like, I don't think they're too thin. I think this thickness is maybe slightly thinner, but You know, it just depends. And then it's like, do you want to sleeve them or not? I don't. I used to back when I was real OCD and anal about my games, my collection, really like careful with everything. And oh my God, don't mess anything up. Now I almost couldn't. I don't say I couldn't care less, but I play them, right? And that's not just from the fact that you say, well, Wayne, because you get review copies, that's why you don't care about them. First off, I do care. I keep everything in good condition, as good as I can. But if I'm going to play them, I'm going to play it. You know, I'm going to shuffle those cards, and the corner's going to get a little dinged, and you're going to have a little bit of spot on them, and it's going to be like, oh no, my precious cards. Well, oh well, it's played. I actually kind of like that now. I used to hate that, but now I look at it and I go, wow, this looks like it's played. All the rule books are bound. I like to be able to open them all the way. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I mean, like, I want to be, let's have that binding that I can flip it either. So I'll bend them back. I know some of you guys are like, oh no, what are you talking about? Right. So, for instance, oh, here we go. Most Fearful Sacrifice. Right. So this is the scenario book here. So I'm playing because I just, like I said, just did a video on the first playthrough of the Slaughter Pen. Charles, you're super late. Way late. We got 5 minutes left. What the heck? Where were you? Noon Central Time. All right. So look, I folded it. You know what I mean? I folded it back. Oh no! People are crying now. You guys are gonna be throwing up in the chat. Can't believe you did that. I'm still learning how to apparently hold things up to it since it's like reversed. But you can see I just folded it over, right? Okay, I do that. So I need to be able to do that for a rule book, for scenario book, whatever. I need to be able to do that. Daniel asks, which is the game that you like most? Its cards. Not saying necessarily about the art, but helpful for the gameplay. Ooh. So I love the Warfighter cards. How much information is on those cards? I do wish that the quality was maybe a little better, and I do wish the graphic design was a little better. It's kind of like, someone had like a blank card in Photoshop, and they were like, okay, we'll put, card art, we'll put outline for the card, we'll put a block of text, and the block of text looks like it was written in, it was in like a spreadsheet, and then just like copy pasted into a block on the card. Now, and again, I'm not trying to be too negative. What I'm saying is, I am too negative. Turns out I am. But I love all the information, right? I love the fact that there's so much information there. I just wish that it was maybe a little bit better organized. It kind of flowed together well. And that's where you see advantages of companies, generally non-wargaming companies for the most part, that have professional graphical designers, and not just the art for a card or the box or the map or the counters, right? But actual for, the cards within the cards, for laying out the graphics, for making all this text, all this information we need, and making it pretty on our eyes. And that's what I like to see from more games. And I think Worthington actually generally does a really good job of that. So if we talk about Worthington, kind of different DVG. DVG has all this great information. Worthington will have a lot of good information, and often the cards look really nice. Thinking of Soviet Dawn, all the information that's on those cards, and it looks really clean. It's easy to read. You can tell exactly what each section means. Really done well there. And I don't know who does their cards. Christopher says, don't forget, Wayne, is the fact that Wargaming will take your mind off the heat, and I need it. Temperature check here in Southwest Missouri. We are up to 92 degrees, 103 heat index. So it feels like 103 degrees outside. I'm getting hot just thinking about it. And I got the AC running. I think the AC has been running since I started the show here. It can barely keep up. I can keep up, but I turn it down before I start the video, or else I hot and bothered up here because I get all crazy. I love when companies provide PDFs for the rules so I can print them and leave the originals untouched. I do love that. I used to do that where I would print it. Again, this was back in my anal FOMO like collector phase of when I got into wargaming, and I was like, I gotta keep these games, and I can barely touch them. Like, I played them, but barely, right? Because I was like, they're like collector's items. Man, I can't crease the rule book. I would do that. I'd print them off and use copies like that. I still love PDFs for rules, but I like it because then I can say, instead of sitting in my office here, my gaming cave, my man cave, whatever you want to call it, working on stuff. Say I'm just reading a rule book. I'm getting ready to play a game and start learning it on the table. Well, I can sit on my iPad in the other room with my wife and read the rules, right? And it allows me to be part of a little bit more connected to the family as opposed to just in my little bunker here, So Charles says, "We're up to 1 a.m. trying to figure out North Cape S&T decision games." I don't even know what that is, Charles. I have no idea what that is. North Cape convoy battles in the Arctic. That what we're talking about? Eric Harvey, 2 players. It's a wargame simulation of the convoy battles fought in the Barents Sea during World War II. Played in several scenarios, each of which simulates one of the historical convoy battles in the Arctic. Okay. Whoa. Some crazy looking counters. I don't know if I love it or hate them. I don't want to be too negative. I guess I love them. Oh, interesting. Huh. MSRP $34.99. I think the MSRP on Strategy and Tactics magazine games are up to $50. Not that I blame them. I mean, everything's more expensive. We talked about inflation earlier, so yeah. Ooh. Backside, front side. Okay, all right. Well, good luck with that one. Oh, it has solo rules. I didn't know that. Eric Carr, one of my favorite designers. Yeah, I like the fire and movement system he does. And I think the last game I covered with it, besides D-Day, like D-Day Quad, which you guys can see right there, is the Forgotten Pacific Battles from World at War magazine. Really enjoyed that one. So, all right, we're past hour 20. We're wrapping it up. Boys and girls, wrapping it up. Final comments, final questions before I go. I have another video to film for Most Fearful Sacrifice, a tutorial. And then I have an overview and review, although I'm not going to film that today. I'm going to write it today, though. Remember, I write my reviews ahead of time. They're scripted. The illusion shattered. It's not live. It's scripted. Well, of course, not live, but partially scripted. So Chris says you need to pick up Patton's First Victory. Patton's First Victory. Heard of it, obviously. I know it's an old staple, old war gamers. Maybe. Steve asked me this last time. Remember last week? He's like, you know, play any old games on here? I'm like, probably not. Not that I'm against old games. I just, man, there's so many new games. Cheers, Vince. You enjoy your weekend as well. I will. I'm going to stay inside with the air conditioning. I already got a workout in this morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. or so I could get up, which I woke up at 5 a.m. for work, so it's not that big a deal. And then I got a workout in 6:30 to 7:30 when it was only like 75 degrees in my garage. It was 75 degrees outside. Garage wasn't bad. I got a big old metal fan I fire up while I'm working out. So have a great time, Wayne. Thanks for the great chat today, and everyone. Looking forward to next Sunday's chat. Any topic in mind, Wayne? Says Daniel. I may have an idea or two. You'll have to find out closer to then. I'm not going to share it now, which may mean I don't have a definitive idea picked out. I would like to get a guess. I'm actually, so Daniel, I'll just tell you this. With your workout routine next week, we'll do. I'm trying to get a guest. So I'm trying to get, I mean, I don't want to call him out because he's busy. It's not his fault. He's very busy. He's a busy man. But I have a certain guest I'm trying to get on here. I wouldn't mind potentially one day maybe having a co-host or semi-co-host, semi-regular co-host. So I'd like to reach out because I love doing this. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun talking to you guys, seeing you guys, chatting. But I wouldn't mind having a few more, like a little bit of time maybe for me to let my voice rest talking nonstop for an hour and a half gets to be a little tiresome on the vocal cords. We're in the middle of a new golden age of wargaming. It sure seems like it. I wasn't around for any prior wargaming golden ages, but I'll tell you right now, man, there are so many publishers, so many designers. I have a special tab in my browser. It has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 9 different wargame publishing houses that I just click on it and I can, pull up all their websites, see their latest news and games coming and things like that. And that's a fraction of what there is. So, just love it. Love all the war games we're getting. Just can't keep up, and that's a good problem to have. Chris says amen to that. Yep, I'll lock it in, Vince. Charles, you better. I expect to see you, my friend. Can't believe you weren't here earlier. It's nice to see you guys. Always a pleasure. New world coin currency war games. If only. I'm sure some of us wish. So, all right, everybody. I think that's it. We are wrapping it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. You guys are the best. We have the best wargaming community on the internet, even though, some of us go to other places too, but I won't hold that against you. No, love seeing you guys. Hope you guys enjoy my channel. Hope you guys enjoy the content I've been putting out. When it comes to future content, any suggestions, let me know. Games and stuff like that, obviously. You can contact your publishers too. Let them know, hey, I'd like Wayne to get to see this game or check this game out or whatever. Just because when there's interest, then the publishers are looking at sending it to reviewers so they can play the game. Other than that, no promises on it though, because as you can see, I have plenty of games to cover already. If you want to support the channel directly, I have links in the video description for you can do one-time donation through PayPal. So, probably a cup of coffee or type, send me a couple bucks. Always appreciated, just so I can pay for new stuff. I think my mount, which you guys can't see, camera mount right there behind me, behind my head, is right up there, is going out a little bit. I think it's getting a little wonky, so I might have to buy another one, which, it's not that bad, $150, something like that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, everybody, later.